Mr. Deputy Speaker, 2020 has been grim for so many of us, and nobody wants the restrictions in place whatsoever. But I do welcome the necessity of them, and therefore I'll be voting this evening with the government on all motions. Again, the retrospective nature of this legislation has been difficult to stomach. Going on recess and then facing this on the Friday was difficult for me, as it was for all MPs and all constituents. But this is not being imposed for any other reason than the public health imperative. And at the back of our minds, we must always remember that. And as I say to constituents all the time that write to me, this is not personal. The fact that you can't go and see family at Christmas, the fact that you're locked away for this awful winter, nothing personal there at all. It's simply the government doing what it has to do to keep people safe. And having had so many letters from people in Bracknell and the wider constituency over the past few months, I understand your frustrations completely and I empathise with them. Having Christmas plans curtailed at the last minute was awful, and nobody takes any pleasure at all in restricting people from seeing their loved ones. But it's the duty of any responsible government to take these tough and unpopular decisions to protect lives. And it's a sign of good leadership that the government is making these decisions. And again, to commend my constituents, the public have been resolute in the main in their abidance of the rules, and the self-discipline that we've seen across the UK this year has been phenomenal. And we welcome today's news of a second vaccine. It's fantastic. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we must look forward to a more positive 2021. It has been a difficult few weeks in my constituency, with Bracknell going from Tier 2 to Tier 4 in a matter of days. And this was a bitter blow to the morale and the mental health for so many. As of today, we are now at a rate of 568 cases per 100,000. No exaggeration, that is septupled in the last month. And if you take the period of 6 weeks, that is a 1,000% increase in that rate in my constituency. And it's mirrored elsewhere locally. Wokingham 413, Reading 452, Windsor and Maidenhead 509, and Slough 646. So the fact is that this is the virus that is ripping through the constituency and beyond. And this is the wave that we were perhaps fortunate not to have had so far. And locally, our hospitals are really struggling. Wexham Park, Royal Berkshire and Frimley Park Hospital, they're at max capacity. And as of today, I can tell you that the local resilience forum in Thames Valley was almost at the point of declaring a major incident in Berkshire because this has got that bad. So when these stats are presented, it is irresponsible not to react to this exponential increase in cases, however tough it is to stomach. And the decision not to act would have been a grave dereliction of duty. So to be a critical friend to government, if I may, there's 3 areas that I'd like to concentrate on very quickly. The first thing is gyms. We need to make sure that we don't curtail freedoms to the extent that people can't exercise. And we've known about the restrictions on the fitness and leisure industry for some time. So please, government, would you review the rules regarding gyms and all forms of exercise and sport so that life can continue as best as we can for so many. Small businesses also have had it really, really bad. Some are on their last legs. And we've seen giant online corporations like Amazon and Google dominating the market, continuing to sell goods with impunity, making it increasingly difficult for the high street to survive. There must please be more support for these businesses. And we've heard a lot about the excluded as well. We can't ignore them. It's very important that we do whatever we can, even at this stage, to help them. And lastly, I do welcome the government's stance in keeping schools open. It's a necessity for our children and for their parents, many of whom need to go back to work. But I implore you, the government, to maximise testing in schools and also to roll out vaccinations for teachers at the earliest opportunity. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, notwithstanding the grim nature of 2020, we do have much to look forward to, and we must hold the faith. Last week I visited the fantastic Bracknell Vaccination Centre being run by the East Berkshire Clinical Care Group. And what I saw there was simply amazing. People in their 80s and 90s having left home for the first time. The hope that I saw, to share with my friend from Peterborough, was quite staggering. What I saw there was magnificent, and I commend everyone in the NHS, key workers and other key staff across the UK for what they're doing. We will get through this. Thank you.
And the last backbench contribution, Richard Holden.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr Deputy Speaker. And like many members on this side of the House, and I'm sure on all sides, the last thing I want to do is be here again insisting on further lockdowns and further measures to restrict the freedom of my constituents. It's certainly not what I came into politics for. And we have had some good news today. The vaccine coming forwards looks like it'll finally put us in the final furlong for furloughed Britain, which I think is a really good place to be. But we're not there yet. And so these measures, I'm